By far the easiest way to explain what MVC is and how it works is to actually walk through the creation of an MVC website. So from within Visual Studio, say File, New, Project. In the Visual C# side, click Web, and we want an ASP.NET web application. Let's call it MVC Starter. And then click OK. Now we have many different options. What we want to do is just a plain old MVC website. It's possible that you can add other services as well. For example, we can add Azure Mobile Services, we can use the Web API, we can also determine what kind of authentication we have. So we can have no authentication, individual user accounts, organisational or Windows. We'll just stick with the default for now. Finally, we can tell it to host it in the cloud on Windows Azure. For now we will switch that off. Click OK. So we have here on the right hand side the structure of our MVC site. For now the bits we are most bothered about are the controllers, the views, the models, and perhaps the app start. The app start contains site setup routines. If we go through them one by one, first of all we have the bundle config. What the bundle config does, it's a way of gathering any JavaScript and CSS files that we'll use in your site. So rather than have them as manually typed script tabs, instead you use bundles to define what and where they are. And the reason why we do this is when the site gets published as a live site, it will actually bundle all these files up into one single file and perform what's called mimification on them, which is basically makes the file size smaller. For now we don't need to worry about it, but it's handy to know that's there in case for whatever reason any JavaScript or CSS files aren't coming through. The filter config goes through and registers what are called global filters. For example, the only one we get created is a handle error attribute. We have the identity configuration, which is what sets up the built-in ASP.NET user security configuration. The root config defines what will happen when somebody goes to a particular page. And finally we have the startup authorization, which again is related to the identity setup and just sets up the ASP.NET identity configuration. Now although we will look at each of these, for the time being we don't need to worry about it. By default 3 controllers get created for you, and 3 models and a number of views. The first thing we're going to do is actually just run the website. So if we click Internet Explorer up here, and this will launch the website and start it running in Internet Explorer. Now what it does is it runs under the context of a local IIS instance, that's Internet Information Server, which is just a server for using the host. And as you can see, we've got some basic tabs all pre-built up here, and we even have our registration and login pages. You'll notice that as we click each of these, we have this root setting here. So when we go to the login page, it goes to account/login, and when we go to register, it goes to account register, and when we go to home, it just goes to /. Let's just close that down. So the first controller we want to look at is called the home controller. So in the MVC, this is the C part of the acronym, i.e. the controller. And the controller is the starting point when you want to create new pages. Generally, you would create your pages in groups or sections that relate to each other. So for example, the home controller will be your index page, maybe about page. These tend to be your base pages. Similarly, it creates an account controller. Now the account controller is generated by default and basically just has a number of pages, an entry point for signing in, logging in, registering your account, managing your account. A lot of that is handled for you. So if we wanted to create a controller of our own, it's very easy to do. We say right click, we say add, and we say controller. Now what we want to do is we want to pick one of these. We won't be using the API controllers here, we will just be using these. Now the MVC5 controllers, there are 3 different options. We can use read-write actions and read-write with entity framework. We won't be doing this because I always found it easier just to build them from scratch, then we get more control. So we'll take the top option, MVC5 controller, and click add. Give it a name and let's call it product and click add. So this now creates us an empty controller, and that's all there is to it. That's how easy it is just to get up and running with our base controllers.